Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and Apple today announced the all-new iPhone 16e. We were waiting for an Apple announcement, and it's a replacement for the iPhone SE 3rd generation. I thought we'd go over everything new, when to expect it, when you can pick one up for yourself, what's new about it, and some things that aren't so great about it. Now, they also discontinued selling the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus models, leaving just the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 16, 16 Plus, 16 Pro, and 16 Pro Max, along with the all-new iPhone 16e. So gone is the SE or Special Edition name, and now it's just part of the iPhone 16 family. Many of us thought this could be the name based on what Tim Cook said, that we have a new phone or product joining the family. Now, the price I think is a little bit more expensive than many of us expected. It starts at $599 for 128 gigs of storage, goes to $699 for 256, and $899 for 512. It's only available in two separate colors this time around, just black and white. So you can pick whichever one works for you in whatever storage, and you have sort of a matte white finish as well. So those are the two options. There's no red option this year yet. Now, as far as the overall specs, well, Apple says this is the most affordable model. It definitely is, but it's not inexpensive. It's very similar in size to the iPhone 16. Many people expected it to be just like the iPhone 14, and it very much is. It's slightly shorter than the iPhone 16 by 0.9 millimeters, so less than 1 millimeter. It's the exact same width, exact same thickness as an iPhone 16, but it's slightly lighter by 3 grams or 167 grams or 5.88 ounces. So it's a little bit lighter than the 16. It's also got an aluminum frame, so aluminum frame, glass front and back, ceramic shield on the front, but it does have the action button. So they've included the action button, but there's no camera control button like we have on the iPhone 16 models. We also have USB-C, so we did get that on all the iPhone models, but one of the odd omissions to the overall product is no MagSafe charging. So it does have 7.5 watt wireless charging, but no MagSafe. So you won't be able to charge it with a MagSafe adapter, at least adhering to the back, but you can place it on there and it should charge. So that's pretty typical. Anytime you have a wireless charging phone like the iPhone 11, it will still charge on the wireless charging coils or the Qi chargers, but it won't wirelessly adhere or magnetically adhere with the magnets. When it comes to the battery, this should be actually pretty good compared to what we had before. In fact, they say it's up to 26 hours of video playback, which is 4 more than the iPhone 16, 1 less than the iPhone 16 Plus, so it should have pretty good battery life overall. Some of that has to do with the specs we'll talk about in just a moment. When it comes to the display, well, it does have a notch. It's not the larger notch like we have on the iPhone 11, but it does have a notch, which supports Face ID. It's a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display, 2532 by 1170 at 460 pixels per inch. However, it only is 800 nits max brightness during typical usage and 1200 nits during peak brightness. Brighter than the SE3, but not as bright as the current iPhone 16 models. So it also doesn't go down to 1 nit of dimness. So that's something you don't get on it. Unfortunately, you'll have to stick with 800 or 1200 nits. Now, there's good news when it comes to the overall processor. We have an A18 chip. It's the same CPU, but the GPU has 4 cores instead of 5 cores like the iPhone 16. That means it supports Apple Intelligence, most likely has 8 gigs of RAM, but Apple doesn't disclose that, but we'll see that once we get our hands on it. And it will support Apple Intelligence. One thing that's a little bit different, though, is it does support visual intelligence, pressing and holding the action button. So maybe this will come in an update to the iPhone 16 models where we'll be able to assign it to the action button. So it will support it, and hopefully they bring that to the iPhone 15 Pro models as well, since it has an action button. So no reason they can't. It would just require a software update. One of the best things Apple introduced that hopefully will give a very big boost to the overall connectivity is the all-new C1 cellular modem. It's Apple's own 5G modem that supports 5G in sub-6, but does not have DC HSDPA as far as the bands go, but it does have Wi-Fi 6. It doesn't have ultra-wideband, there's no thread networking built in, but it does support dual SIM with 2 active eSIMs, and you can store 8 or more eSIMs. It should be much more power efficient according to Apple, and hopefully that connectivity is better than what we're getting with Qualcomm on the iPhone 16. The camera is just as expected, so we have a singular camera just like the iPhone SE 3rd generation, but this time around it's a 48 megapixel f1.6 Fusion camera with 2x telephoto zoom, so basically what we get in the iPhone 16 Pro Max, where we can zoom in to 2 times and it's optically zooming because it's just punching into the sensor. We have a 48 megapixel and a 24 megapixel mode, but we don't have macro mode, we don't have spatial photos, and we don't have Pro RAW. We also have 4K 60 FPS, Dolby Vision HDR, but no cinematic mode, no action mode, and no macro, like I mentioned, or log footage. The mic should have a similar option where maybe you record some video here, and then you can adjust it after the fact, but it doesn't have the 4-mic array of the Pro models. But if we record that, give it a second here, go in and edit, we should have the option to adjust the audio mix after the fact with standard, in-frame, studio, and cinematic. So hopefully we have those options. We'll have to test that out once I try it out. It does have the exact same camera that we have on the front-facing camera. So just like we have right now, let's get out of this, just like we have right now with the iPhone 16, 16 Pros, we have the 12 megapixel f1.9 camera, but we don't have a cinematic mode for whatever reason. I'm not sure why they're not including that. The processor should be capable of it, but they decided not to do that. We do have a few other features: crash detection, satellite services, and IP68 with a maximum depth of 6 meters up to 30 minutes. So all of those things are basically what we expected, very similar to the iPhone 16, 15, 14, and it's an aluminum frame, so no titanium there. When it comes to when you can pre-order it, well, pre-orders are available this Friday. You can see that here. So if we go into the store, you'll see when we can pre-order it, starting at 5 a.m. Pacific time or 8 a.m. Eastern time on 2/21, and it's available on 2/28. So you'll be able to pick it up in store, depending on demand, and get one for yourself. A few other things to mention that go along with this. Well, iOS 18.3.1 re-released with the same build number, but now includes a new build for the iPhone 16e as well. So we should have the exact same everything with that particular update, security updates and more, but now we just have it available for the new phone. There's no iOS 18.4 yet, but Apple did announce that Apple Intelligence is coming to more languages or countries in April. So that's when I would expect iOS 18.4 to roll out across the world and have more languages available. There's also 5 new cases available. So we have 5 silicone cases: black, white, winter blue, fuchsia, and lake green. So that's everything we're expecting as far as that goes. I'm sure we'll see more cases from third parties, but that's what Apple's making available. So still no leather, nothing else. They've gotten rid of fine woven, so we're waiting to see if they update that this year with the iPhone 17 models. The other odd thing they updated it was compatibility with the Apple polishing cloth. On their website, it's now compatible with the 16e. So they've updated everything, and it looks like it's ready to go. Hopefully we see iOS 18.4 Beta 1 very soon, and that's pretty much everything there is with the iPhone 16e. This is the new wallpaper from it, so I'll link that in the description like I normally do, and if you have any additional questions or comments, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.